broadcast from Mid and North Powys Mind. The last few weeks we've been having a look at trying to connect ourselves to, we could call it a space, which is just effortlessly here, which is just witnessing what is going on. And I think it would be really good to try and just dip into that space right now by let's do a 5-minute breathing meditation together, and then we'll have some words after that. So just checking in with yourself that you're sitting comfortably, your feet are flat on the floor, your belt is loosened, that you're sitting back in your chair so that when you relax back into it, you're upright. Feet flat on the floor so you can let go of your legs and just let your hands come to rest wherever they are. And we're just going to sit for 5 minutes. So just allowing your eyes to close. And just coming straight to the awareness of your breathing. Finding that place where you notice the breath most easily. There may be an awareness of other things here at the same time, like how your body is feeling. All of a sudden that becomes noticeable. But make it your intention that you're going to pay attention to your body breathing in and out. And it may be that you notice that as you try to bring your attention to stay with your breathing, that isn't an easy thing to do, because your mind is still active, energized. Thoughts are still popping up in your mind, one after another, and these are distracting. So there's an awareness of that as well. And to begin with, particularly at the beginning of the 5-minute sitting, it could be that you're there with the breath one moment and gone the next. But each time that you realise you've been lost in thinking, just put your attention back in the place where you notice your breathing. And in this 5-minute breathing meditation, we're just going to ask the mind to concentrate on silently counting up to 3 as you notice your body breathing in, and back from 5 as you notice the body breathing out. So just take a big breath in and let it go. And one more. And one more. And now as you're breathing in, you're counting silently 1, 2, 3. And as you're breathing out, you're counting silently 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just keep repeating that. Keep noticing when you come back from wherever your daydreaming has been. Just go straight back to the breathing and the counting. And bit by bit that'll become easier, it'll become more steady. Just allow everything to be as it is. And make your breathing and the counting the focus of your attention, where you're choosing to place your attention. And I'll let you know when the 5 minutes are up. Just keep having the intention to stay with your breathing, to synchronize the speed of the counting with the speed of each in and out breath. Being present and aware moment by moment. When you manage to make the choice to place your attention with your breath and the silent counting, you take the attention away from whatever is arising in the mind, whatever thoughts or comments are being known in the mind. You take your energy and your attention away from there. So bit by bit, as you take the energy away from the mind, the thoughts become less loud at the beginning, when you decide to just stay with the breath. Just keep concentrating, focused on noticing the breathing. Each moment that you do that is a moment when you're not energizing the activity, the tenseness in the mind. When you stay with the breath and engage with the counting. Just following your breathing in and your breathing out. So just letting go of the counting. If you're able, you could stay connected to this awareness of the breath. Just allow yourself to silently notice how you're feeling now that you've given yourself this 5-minute break. where you've tried to bring your attention into the present moment. Just silently noticing how you feel now. And then allow your eyes to open when you're ready. And we're all at a different stage in this process. So it may be that as soon as you take your attention away from the breath and the counting, that your attention is drawn straight away back into thinking and commenting and saying things to yourself, feeling restless. And I've called this particular session Habits. Perhaps it's something that we'll look at for a little while now in the following sessions. What habits do we have which we don't even realise that we have? But there could be one right there that we can perhaps notice that as soon as we take our attention away from the focus of following the breath and synchronizing the counting with the speed of the breathing, and as soon as we open our eyes again, that peacefulness perhaps that you began to feel towards the end of the meditation perhaps, is already beginning to feel less clear, that your connection to it isn't quite so obvious, because your experience now is being filled with whatever thoughts are appearing and then disappearing in your mind. And we could say right there is a habit. It's a habit that pretty much everybody has, until you come to the place where you've practiced enough that you've turned yourself away from being caught up with paying attention to the thoughts that appear in the mind, and that you're then beginning to catch sight of what I've been sharing with you perhaps now for 4 weeks, I think, that there's this space which is just aware of the experiences that you are aware of. In fact, you and this space of awareness aren't separate, aren't different. But for a lot of people, the habit is that the attention, this open, spacious, peaceful place of awareness, is covered up, is obscured, is lost, because the attention is sucked into the speed of and the intensity and the flavour of the thoughts that crop up in the mind. And then whatever the flavour of that thinking is, those comments, those judgments, those comparisons, those things that we're saying to ourselves, the tone of the commentary, whatever the flavour of that is the tone of our feeling state, how we're feeling right now. And when we have a habit of being like that, then we have that feeling in our body. That's just the way we feel. And it just becomes normal to feel like that, because that's just the habit of it, even though we don't realise that's a habit. Because it appears, when we're lost in that thinking, that there's no choice that we can make. And it's only when we consciously make the intention to access, to connect to this other part of ourselves, which is more spacious and at peace already with everything that comes up, that we begin to feel differently. that the effect of that is felt within ourselves, and after 5 minutes of doing that, we feel, I feel more relaxed. But as I said at the end of the 5-minute breathing meditation that we did together, it could well be that as soon as you don't have that focus, that the habit drags you straight back into the turmoil of thinking, and then you begin to feel less at ease. And what we do about that is that we notice that. And so what we've been looking at the last 4 weeks is that instead of being 100% lost in the thinking, the turmoil in the mind, and the way the body is feeling, whether it's anxious or depressed or restless or feeling of something not being good enough, however you're feeling, that at the same time as that there's still enough presence, enough connection to now, to the present moment, for there to be a noticing that that is the way of it right now. Because as soon as you catch a glimpse of being present to how you're feeling, that part of you is instantly connected to this feeling at peace and easeful. That which is just observing how the mind is and how you're feeling within yourself isn't being affected, isn't being touched or spoiled or disturbed by whatever else is going on either in the mind or in the body. Because those experiences are known by this way more spacious feeling state, which is always at rest, and which you connect to whenever you allow everything else to fall away, when you allow yourself to have a time out, I've called it in the past, when you allow yourself just to count to 10, when you turn yourself away from or break the habit of being lost in thinking. Whenever you allow yourself to turn away from thinking, you enable yourself to step out of the past and the future. And we have looked at that in the previous sessions about connecting yourself to this feeling of just being here now. But it's not something that we can just look at once and go, okay, I'm there now, that's going to be the way of it for me. Because the strength of the habit of being lost in thinking, which means that we get lost in the past or in the future, is so strong that it will take repeated efforts